We have the most advanced manual weld stations in the world. And I can say that, and if anyone wants to challenge me, bring it on. I'd love to bring you in to be able to let you show you what we're doing. These are our self-learning robots. So if we prepped our parts, we then got the sandblasted, washed, we got our assembly, pre-assembly, masking done with our team, and now they come in and then they get painted. So these robots here are large gantry robots. We build these all in-house. So there's a big gantry system, and they call that a big Z-axis, and that allows us to get, basically we can paint in this entire space.
Welcome to Spotlight Sioux Falls, where culture meets commerce and the people behind our favorite places get the mic.
We're your hosts, Melissa Goodwin and Steve Schmidt, and we're sitting down with the makers, doers, and dreamers shaping the soul of our city.
From storefronts to side hustles, tattoos to tech startups, we are telling the stories that make Sioux Falls shine.
Because behind every business is a human story, and those stories, they're what make our community feel like home. This is Spotlight Sioux Falls.
Steve Schmidt with Spotlight Sioux Falls, and today we are at the DeGeest Corporation. I am with Derek DeGeest. Derek, welcome to Spotlight Sioux Falls. Spotlight tea today, technically, because we're in tea.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm glad you guys were able to come down.
Yeah, well, you were very gracious and with the tour, and I got to say, when we drive by this place, on the outside, it looks like a great corporation. I had no idea what they're doing on the inside. I had some ideas when I went to your website, but when we talked to you guys, and Derek, when we came in here, we could immediately feel a stronger standard. Tell me about this company. You've grown up in it. It's a family business.
Yeah.
Kids are working right now.
Right.
You still get on the floor and work. This is a lot today to process because there's no doubt that you have a stronger standard. Where did it start?
Yeah, we're going to be celebrating our 50 years, and I'm the third generation, and my brother is in the company, and my wife Alicia is in the company, and it was started 50 years ago by my grandma and grandpa. So my grandpa was a welder in the Navy, and when he retired from the welding in the Navy, he came back to Sioux Falls, started working as a plant manager in manufacturing, using what he had learned. Yeah. And then eventually, before he wanted to retire, he opened up a small shop, and DeGeest Corporation Manufacturing was born at that time. And so it's been, my dad started soon after, and we've evolved, and now we're here in Sioux, South Dakota now. So.
A few things happened between the front and the beginning. I can't wait to fill you in on those details because I think we immediately sensed it, whether it was how you greeted us, kind of walking around and looking at people work. I got the sense right away that there's a lot of trust here, and that probably starts, call it at the top. It looks like you're really integrated. How do you guys hold yourself accountable to that stronger standard? Because it's easy to say and it's hard to do.
Well, when I was growing up with my dad and my grandpa working in the company, what I would see is that they were proud. They had a swagger that no one could outwork us. Yes. Like, so we could get, and we all used to say growing up that we could get any. We never had to have a website. We never had to call. People came to us because we had a reputation that we would work harder than anyone, and we could get any of the jobs and work that we needed because we could outwork everyone. And that was what the mindset of that. We work hard and we get it done, and we could beat anyone at building parts at that. And that was what I grew up learning, and it was that was our mantra. But then there was a convergence as I started, in my mid-20s and 30s, that where technology and automation started to grow. And there became a point where you just couldn't outwork technology and automation. So, and a lot of these people, since I was working in the shop since I was 14, I grew up with them, and we have people here been here for 20, 30, 40 years now. Yeah. And so how do we take higher paid people that have been with us for a long time, compete with other lower wages, other labor rates, and be competitive? Well, so we have to think smarter. We can't outwork that gap. And so we were forced, I think, before a lot of others to be able to find a way, because we were still smaller, but we treated people well and people stayed. Yeah. So our average tenure and pay was higher than a lot of lower labor. So we had to use technology and automation and a way to think smarter to be able to multiply the efforts of our people so that we could take care of our people and our customers at the same time.
You think about this in layers. You have techs on the floor who are doing programming for you. So they're programming your machines, but they can do this pretty much, call it free form. It's not vibe coding when you're in this place. This is pretty, a lot of protocols here. But Walk me through that, because inside this facility, when we were walking around, one thing I really liked was I saw a lot of things in the demo area that, hey, we're going to test this before we bring it out to market, and we're going to put it on our floor where we bring it out, and then we're going to say, we can do it for you, or we can ship it to you and you can do it yourself. That's taking a leadership position. You set a stronger standard. When do you guys sleep at night? Because this sounds like a lot of wow. Yeah. And then there's a standard, but there has to be a reason for it. When things break, how do you go to your stronger standard and fix them as a company?
Well, I think there is a lot to unpack there. There's a lot going on, but it all just it's stacked and grew on it.
So we're not just a manufacturer. We use technology. We've
come up with new solutions that we use and help our people, and then we help other companies and other manufacturers all across North America, which is a huge jump. For most manufacturers. They hold everything in, they try to hide, it's their secret sauce. And what I've found is that if everyone continues to do that and everyone still works in a silo, we're not going to be competitive as a country. And we have to be able to find ways to be able to collaborate, work together, and share, because we are dependent on the other OEM and the other companies to make equipment so that we have jobs and have things to do. And what I found is that most people are trying to protect things that are already outdated already, and they don't even know it. And so we found technology that we couldn't get here over in Europe. And this out of necessity, as we were using automation in fabrication, which is the most prominent because you start at where things get made. So we were using lasers and other brake presses and a lot of other at night lights out, autonomous cutting, which is now pretty normal. And then we got into robotic welding about 6-7 years ago. And then one robot returned 2, returns 3. And then slowly we get into paint. So you have to fabricate, build pieces, and you have to weld them. And then we have to paint them. And there was no solution at the time. And so for welding, for painting, so you weld, you program offline, you have it takes a long time. You have to have the skills to be able to do that. And then it does 1 or 2 things. Where a paint line, everything you make has to go through there. So we have thousands of different parts, to different types of parts that we make, from big parts to little parts to brackets to huge skid steer weldments to...
What about underwater welding equipment? Do you guys make that too?
We do not make underwater welding equipment. We make a weed whacking lawnmower that goes on buoys for a pontoon that cuts underwater. So that's that's
pretty powerful. It's cutting underwater.
Yeah. So we do all kinds of different stuff, from forestry to mining to agriculture to construction. All different types of industries we get in, we make parts. And then now that we brought the self-learning Lesta technology to our own company, and we to help us continue to grow and balance our automation by adding automation in fab, weld, and paint, it allows everything to be able to continue to grow and keep us all of our different areas balanced so we don't bottleneck. And by doing that, now we have solutions that we're helping companies all over North America. Now we're in aerospace, now we're also in furniture, and we're in different doors and construction. It's fascinating. I get to travel the country and go to companies all over North America and help consult and show them from I would say the school of hard knocks and the trials of tribulations that we've gone through. And now people want to know where to start. And so we help give them the steps. We're going to go into our paint system. So we have at DeGeest Corporation one of the largest, most technology automated paint line in the country. So we have over 6 Lesta self-learning robots that work with our people, and the technology that we're using, we also help companies all over North America be able to use this technology in their systems as well. So we're going to walk through our paint line and we'll show you how we process and automate all of our parts. This is the beginning of our process of hanging our parts up. So we've standardized all of our hooks and our racks so that we can hang our parts up, and then they go through our paint line. So once our parts are hung, they go through a large blast machine. So this is about a 30, 40 foot tall machines that go 10 foot into the ground, 12 big 25 horsepower wheels that be able to shoot 32 ton of steel BBs at our parts to be able to open it up. So like if you ever was gonna stain a deck, you'd sand it before you stain it. you got to hit it with a shot blast before you paint it.
Right.
So this is the process we use, and this is like a giant car wash with steel BBs. And so once that's hit and it comes through, then it'll then move into our paint line where it'll then be washed, or it'll go right into our paint process. Once it's loaded on the line, the recipe knows exactly what to do with the rest of the system. And these low bars in the overhead conveyor will move our parts through the system. So think of it like a train track upside down.
Yeah.
It's pulling trolley cars to be able to move independently. We have miles of conveyor line in here, and then it'll move independently, and all parts can move through each of the processes, from blast, then it moves into a wash where it goes through 5 stages of car wash, then it dries, and then after this it'll move into paint. And then once the parts are prepped, then they move over and then they follow work instructions on our command screen. So in here, this is our command central for our paint line. It shows the whole overview of our paint line. We got videos, live video of each of our paint booths that are running so they can see which one robot is doing what. And then there's work instructions for each of the pieces for additional assembly, any other plugging and masking. So we standardize that process. So with our customers, why that's so important is that they know that they're getting a repeat product, that they can follow instructions that are going with the parts to make sure that they're repeated the same way every time.
Derek, what are we looking at here? This looks like a giant spray painting arm. I don't know how else to explain that.
That's a really good explanation. So right here, these are our self-learning robots. So if we prepped our parts, we then got the sandblasted, washed, we got our assembly, pre-assembly, masking done with our team, and now they come in and then they get painted. So these robots here are large gantry robots. We build these all in-house. So there's a big gantry system, and they call that a big Z-axis, and that allows us to get, basically we can paint in this entire space. So this allows us to do those 12-foot long, 10-foot tall, and 4-foot deep parts. And so these robots are trained by our painters. So in here they'll move through and they teach the robot how to paint the part. So all the knowledge on tips and tricks of how to be able to tack a part, how the paint needs to lay out, what angle it needs to go at, what gun preset that they use, all these decisions that a painter knows specifically of their part is being put in and saved by the robot. So that robot now becomes an extension of our best painter. So that's Kevin in there. So Kevin painted that part and he taught the robot how to do it. And so now the robot actually moves like Kevin. So how Kevin paints, so the robot ends up taking on the style of the painter and then also saving all the knowledge of the intricacies of that part with their coding and that system, and now have an automated part and program that can be used over and over again. Well, we do thousands of these tanks a year. So instead of having a painter or any of your team having to do it over and over and over again, because our Kevin and Tony, our two main operators and programmers here, they understand paint and paint systems, but instead of just painting that same part 1,000 times over just the one style of part over the year, now that they put in how to do it, and now they can move out and run the whole system. So our entire line here is ran by 2 people, and all the robots run independently in the system, and now we have that knowledge helping make our operation and find continuous improvement, improve the quality and the operation and production of our system. And so once the programs are done and taught, the robot comes over, now the doors are opening, the next set of parts are ready to come in, and now it'll move to the other side. And so now this side's done, and it'll move past to the next robot, and the other robot will do the back side, and then it'll now get the next part. So it keeps all of our low bars and our parts moving through our system faster.
I noticed you've got a name up here. What does Adam mean?
Yeah, so all of our robots we named after robots from movies, action movies and stars. So Adam, Noisy Boy, Midas, they're all from the movie Real Steel with Hugh Jackman, the boxing robot movie. Yep. And so we have large action figures over here as well. So each one of our robots, they get large action figures as well for each of them, and they all have names. So we have about 16 robots throughout our shop. Each one has an action figure and a name, and they're part of our team. So then once our parts are primed, then from the primer, then they'll move into a top coat. So these are more parts coming out. So the next round of parts is coming through. So you can see, come down the line, they got a new part of raw parts coming in to the first booth. The back side of ones we just saw are moving to get painted now on the back side, and the first done set part is coming out.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And so That's how each of them will move through, and then as those get finished, as soon as the next set locks in, doors will all shut, robots will attack on both sides, running each of the parts. So now we're going to close up, each side will close up, and then the robots will start painting. And then from there, then the parts move out and everything's automatically timed. So it has a
track just goes around and around. Is that how that works?
So this track has been all designed so that that paint has a 12-minute flash time, which allows the paint and primer to be able to breathe. And then it's now ready to accept a top coat where it can be any color that we want. We have 7 different top coat colors that we use, so that we have for our customers. Automatically with the recipe, we'll switch colors and automatically paint whatever color they need to use. We also give a whole production showroom tours. So our whole shop is a production showroom. So we give tours, people flying from all over the country every week to tour our paint line to see how we're doing using technology. They look at our integration center where we're building our robots for our customers and showing and how throughout our whole process, how we use technology and help empower our people to be able to use higher level tasks, automate with process technology and then automation when necessary to be able to help save the knowledge of your people, to be able to get it back and help get people up to speed and engaged quicker.
What do your paint guys say about this system? Do they like it?
Yeah, I mean, we made a career out of a job. And that's really like right here, you can see this is Kevin. So this was Kevin, he trained the robots how to paint these parts. And so he was no way that you can crawl around. The physicality of painting all day is really tough on shoulders, on knees, on backs, because you have to use all of your area and you're bending over, crawling on the ground. They call it like a young man's game, or it makes you old quick. So this way, loves painting, loves his craft and his skills. Now he can teach the robot to be able to do that repetitiveness, get him out, so now he has a career opportunity. He can do it for the rest of his career instead of having to try something else to do when he can't physically do the work all day, every day. We say it's not your typical robot because standard robots are programmed by teach pendants or offline, and they take a very long time. They take a lot of training and skill sets, and a lot of times you have more computer programmers, and then you have painters that have to use it. And so there's usually a big disconnect. The people that have this skill set to know how to program don't understand how to paint. And so but it's hard to make a good program when you don't understand paint or your system. And so that's where this robot and the technology really marries the two together. So you automate the programming portion by just teaching the robot in real time. So you're teaching the program and programming while you're painting a part. It takes weeks to make programs, and then the people on the paint line are supposed to use it, and if it doesn't work, then there's the programmer's fault, programmer says paint guy's fault, then neither of them own it, and then you have something that doesn't run. So this allows companies that don't have huge teams of robotic engineers and programmers to be able to take the painter they have, make your career opportunity, use the right technology to be able to automate the repetitive tasks and get them out and work on other things. So it's a huge bridge to be able to bridge that gap to be able to get into technology and automation, and that's what we're bringing to general industry and bringing on our line to our current customers. And we found Lesta 6 years ago, 7 pages down on YouTube. And so we found a video, we're like, what is this technology? And we called them up and it was from Italy. And they said, what is this? We talked to all the robot companies, everyone in the industry. We've never heard of something like this, and it can't be real. And they said, no, it's been around for decades. We've just been using it. Come see. We would love to work with the US. They wanted to come to the US when we called. I said, great, we need a solution. I said, take me to your customers. I have to see this in real life in person because I was told this is not possible. So
you have kind of like the Ferrari of robots here.
Yeah, we do, right. At not a Ferrari cost. So
better.
Yeah. So we went to Europe and we toured 10 different places from small 10, 20-man operations to huge corporations. And what we were told is impossible in the US was common practice in Europe. So we're like, oh my, I was upset and then I was excited. And so I called my dad at the time and he said we were going to get a welding robot in Germany at the same time. How'd the welding robot go? Yeah, it's going good. And so what do you think of those paint robot things? I said it was amazing, Dad. I bought 4 of them. This is one other unique thing we developed. So we want to take the knowledge of our people so it's not tribal knowledge stuck in one person's head and get it so it can be shared by all. So part of that is that we scan in all of our work orders, we can pull up exactly how to hang each of our parts. So they scan the work order and then it'll show how to hang it. So then they can go in and see what size hooks to be able to use, where to hang them, and that helps them then hang the parts on the system. And so that typically on paint lines, that's a couple people just know how to hang a part because that's what they've always done.
Okay.
And now this allows that anyone that can look at instructions can see how to hang a part, what to do, and then it makes the instructions so that you don't have to be intimately aware of every single part, so that anyone can come in and help with basic instruction, follow the directions to build a load on a line. We're over in our robot weld department now.
Okay.
So this is where we're welding all of our parts together. So this is our higher volume work, so the repeat jobs that we have.
Got it.
Again, any task that has enough volume we can automate to be able to have more higher level tasks for our people. That's what we like to do. So this is a really good part right here. This goes onto a drum mulcher on a skid steer. And so it spins at 1400 RPMs.
Wow.
So why you want to do it on a robot is that they actually have sequenced the timing of welding to make sure that it dissipates the heat evenly throughout the part so that it keeps it very level. So when they go to balance it, when it's all done, it'll be really close to balanced. Otherwise, if you don't do it in a sequence or a certain timing, it can actually, the heat that gets input of welding could blow it like a banana.
Sounds like you've got someone who's been with you for quite a while. Harvey,
Yes.
nice to meet you. I'd shake your hand, but there we go. That's good. How are you doing?
Good.
Good. So how long have you been with DeGeest Corporation?
Almost 40 years.
Quite a while.
40 years,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's really cool.
He's like an uncle to me.
You must like it here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about what's happening.
Yeah, so this is our manual area. We went through Harvey, we toured some of the robot area, and we talked about the repetitive, larger volume work that we'll attack and build here. And this is where we build where the more the complex items, or the either smaller volume or intricate or hard to build stuff. And Harvey's been a master builder for us for a long time and is now a lead of one of our most complex areas in our shop. So.
Oh wow, master builder, like the Lego master builder?
Yeah, like a Lego master builder. Yeah. Careful, now he's going to want a new title. So it's like.
I love it. Yeah.
But so he's showing. So we partnered with Fronius out of Austria, and we brought their technology here that was normally in automotive into general industry. And so they reached out to us because we were working with Lesta and helping other general industry companies, and they wanted to partner and get their technology into more general industry. And they got some really cool stuff. And so we developed a software platform that works with it that helps validate the wire to make sure the wire is correct. It gives the weld settings. So Harvey and some of our more advanced teams will build the settings and develop what we want them to remember so that our knowledge of our people is being saved. So then his team can use the settings that he's tied to each part, and it gives them the settings, and they have to validate they got the right wire, and helps them be able to keep the stuff that Harvey knows and spread it out and help other people.
The Italian stallions behind me.
Yeah, yes, this is our Lesta self-learning robot. So we took you through where we're using them in production, and this is where we're integrating and doing our training R&D for helping other customers all across North America.
Oh, so. Wow. So tell us what we're looking at. It looks amazing. I don't know what all these things do.
Right. Well, these are each of our next robot orders for our customers. So we have 3 robots lined up right now, and we get these in, and then we do all the integration and all the wiring, the PLC, and do all the make sure everything works before it leaves. So each one of these is a separate work order, a separate customer order for each. I think these 2 are going to the same customer, and that's a new one. As well. So then each of these. What do we
have behind us here? What does this do?
Yeah, this is one of our R&Ds for our test lab. So this one, we have customers come in, or potential customers, and we show them this is like coming on into a paint area. We also do not just metals, but we do stuff in the wood industry as well. So we do cabinets. We also will do furniture, and so we do carousels. So this is a carousel, and so this one allows you to be able to load cabinet drawers, cabinet doors, without having a whole conveyor line. You can still automate your line to be able to help make a repetitive spraying a drawer for a cabinet company. That's not as high a value as spraying a real high-end cabinet door. So we can do the clear coat of a drawer, and we can automate that so that you can get your sprayers out to be able to move and be able to work on the panels. So in here, we're doing some R&D for some different automation right now, adding some different distance lasers, vision, and so we're doing that with our partners in Italy right now, working on how to be able to make this easier and easier for our people and trying to reduce the cost to help get more general industry cabinet companies able to be able to afford this automation.
I want to talk about something that you said to me when we were walking in here, because we were just talking as guys and getting to know each other a little bit more. And your family's impressive. I call it from the outside looking in, everybody could say that. But you said 3 things are really important to you in the DeGeest family. That's faith, family, fitness. Why those 3 things? And tell me how you fit them in.
Well, I think faith, family, and fitness for us, they tie into what we now call our stronger standard, because if you don't have one of those 3, you're going to be out of balance. Now, work for us is not just, we are passionate about what we do. There is no off switch. So we find ways to be able to bring those into. We talk about them because if you're not healthy, you can't do anything else. So if you don't have God and you don't believe in that you're doing something to be able to help other people, then it's a really lonely life. And those should tie into your family, and we bring that into our stronger standard, and we talk about that to all of our team and company. And our stronger standard is we have stronger products, we have a stronger community, we have stronger people, and stronger processes. And those 3 things we talk about, and if we'll call each other out and be like, that's not the stronger standard. And then you're like, yep, and it's on my sleeve, so we got to do it. And then I get checked too. So that helps us challenge each other to make sure, from what started with my grandma and my grandpa and my dad, can still move forward. Because when we were small and we had that swagger of we could outwork anyone and we could get work and be able to do it, now we have to use automation technology and processes for people, and we can still keep that swagger and make sure it permeates into all areas of our life.
If you see a FedEx truck driving down the road, you should have some swagger, because these guys probably painted it, right? And they probably finished it. And there's a lot. Why don't you just walk through a litany of case studies so people can hear, because it's pretty impressive, and you don't lead with that. That's kind of like, by the way, we do this, this, and this. You're powering a lot of great things that we're seeing every day and completely unaware of. Name a few of those.
Well, we make a lot of parts here for other companies that end up in other equipment that end up all over the world. And then our robots are painting parts that are all over things that you use every day. So one of them, as you walk by, was the big industrial commercial tires or the wheels that are on. So a UPS truck, FedEx truck, every semi-trailer that you go by, you never would think of this. When you're on the road next time, look on the interstate, look at any truck going by. If you see a white wheel, or a black wheel on every one, we're painting, powder coating about 1,500 wheels a day right now across the country with all of our robot systems. We developed a new solution for the industry. So really kind of a neat side story is that every tire that's out there, the Department of Transportation requires every so many hours they have to go in and get inspected. And so because if the tires get too low and they blow on the interstate, it could kill someone. It can be very dangerous. So they have to go in and they would have to initially throw the tire away, put a new tire on. After so many miles, but that's a lot in the landfill, it's a lot of waste. And so they created a retread where they burr it down and they put a new skin on it and they redo the tire so that it can keep being used. And when they take that off and do that, the rim has to be blasted and inspected to make sure there's no cracks. And then they were just powder coating them all by hand. And so we created a conveyor, a whole robot system to be able to take what manually people were trying to be able to keep those on while they're redoing the tires. And now we automated that entire process, and then now we work with like Goodyear, Bangdag, and Coopertone, and multiple other large tire companies, and we're coating them all over the country now. So
this is it's not just that there's a big company here, or it's not just that there's a company that's been around for 50 years, and it's not just a family company. It's not just it's AI and machine learning at the forefront. When we originally spoke, I talked about, welding. I know in Mitchell, there's a welding program there, I believe. DSU, great computing program. Are you seeing interest come there? Because I know in some of the conversations I've had with the younger kids, I can say that now that I'm 47, they think their jobs are somewhat limited in those areas here. I don't think they know about you and probably some other great companies. What would you say to those people? What would your message be? Because you were once that person coming up through the company. They're coming from a different perspective.
Well, I would say that in manufacturing, there's huge opportunity in all areas. You think if they're going on a tour that I have to be a welder, or I have to be a brake press operator, painter. Well, those are great opportunities for those type of people. They would rather die than have to sit at a desk. As soon as they could get out, they don't want to ever do that. They want to work with their hands. They want to build things and they want to do stuff. But we also have 2-year degrees, we have 4-year degrees, we have people with master's degrees, and every function of a business we also have here. We have accounting, we have finance, we have managers, we have sales, we've got other admin positions, HR and marketing, and so engineering, and so all these in software development, and then integrators and integration, so mechatronics, you name it, on top of the normal business ones, we have all those functions, and all manufacturers are growing and in need of people. So the opportunities are huge. And along with that, we use technology and automation on the floor like probably very few others do. So it's really interesting to see how we take our software developers, our automation and technology that we build, and we implement on the floor. We have the most advanced manual weld stations in the world. And I can say that, and if anyone wants to challenge me, bring it on. I'd love to bring you in to be able to let you show you what we're doing. And then, so we help all of our manual welders, and then we find the right jobs that make sense to move to robots. And so then we'll add automation where it makes sense to be able to help keep the highly skilled positions and the thinking higher level engagement available for our teams. And then we do that in our paint area, in fab, and we use technology to help present information to help people be able to empower them to make decisions. So it's a I'd say if you're interested in building stuff with your hands, or you like to create things, we work with every industry across North America and right here in South Dakota.
There is manufacturing's again in the news. Think about AI, it's manufacturing, there's jobs, there's the economy. Manufacturing jobs are something that we are seeing is going to be positioned alongside AI and machine learning for the near future.
Oh yeah.
Talk to me about those who think, well, it's going to replace us, or don't worry about it. Like, what is the reality of either of those statements?
There's a mass shortage in workers in manufacturing. The people aren't going into that, and now we're trying to reshore and bring more jobs back. We have huge announcements of major factories and big made in America coming back, which is really cool. But also there is a big gap. The baby boomers and the generation of decades of experience is leaving. And so that we are looking for ways to be able to use automation, technology, and eventually AI. AI is overused and thrown in and say it's going to fix everything.
Yeah, they'll sprinkle it on it.
AI, it'll fix everything. Well, AI is cool, but if you don't standardize and give it good information, it won't work. So you have to start taking data. You have to start using technology that can record that information. So eventually you will be able to use AI. And that's a lot of what we're focused on as our company. Is our whole messages and goal is that the average tenure in pretty much almost any industry now is less than 2 years. Because one, there's so many jobs available in every industry that people are job hopping or taking the next opportunity. Or if they're really good and they're going to stay, they're still going to be moving and doing a different position probably within 2 years anyways. So the standard, you get a job and you're going to do it for the next 10 to 20 years is not, that is before, that's not the moving forward. So we look for ways to be able to use technology, automation, and process to be able to make it easier for anyone to come in a position to be able to get up to speed quicker and be productive, which is also makes them more engaging, feels better about what they're doing, and makes them want to be able to learn and stay part of it. And that's why our tenure is much better than most industries.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a hard question. You ready for a hard one?
Bring it.
Okay, for business people out there, margins, profit margins, right? We all know when you take in automation and machine learning. Well, we all don't know that, but those people who had to work with it, you would know that it's not just more money. It's usually meant to give you an ROI, return on your investment. Sometimes that can mean less employees, right? We're not seeing that again today. I want to really emphasize that. We're not seeing machines operating out there and nobody in sight. When man and machine work together, and this is what you're doing, it becomes a replicatable model. You are so good at that other companies are now paying you to use your process to produce and manufacture their goods, sort of a managed service environment. I think of 3PL, third-party logistics, but for manufacturing. Is that model, like, how important is that model to you in the business as you grow?
It's very important, and it's also the most rewarding because one, we can share what our people are doing and how we're using it and how it's impacting, helping them and create futures for them and in our company. And then that's now impacting our whole industry. And we're able to use what we've learned and then share it, and then also help them implement into their companies. And so that's where a lot of our growth is coming from, not only just selling them automation, but our last 2 large customers, we're making parts for them, and then we're giving them the automation to do it themselves, and we're still able to make some for them to help support them. So when people come in, I'm not saying we're pushing, you got to buy this robot, you got to buy this robot. We're like, here's everything we do. Let's walk through and we'll see it all. And if this makes sense, people come in thinking they want a robot and they leave knowing they need to start somewhere else. And we're the last to push one product. We're looking at how we use technology and solutions, and we help find what we call our proven path to automation. And a lot of times it starts with manual processes, manual where they're at right now, reach them right where they are, and then we work our way up.
The name is on your shirt. This is a family business. Your grandma, your dad, your 2 sons. What does that mean to them when they walk in here? They look around, they see you growing the business, Felicia, folding that standard so tightly.
I think a lot of, it's rewarding, and there's just a lot of sense of purpose, that comes with that, and it's we're very honored, and I feel like that drives us every day, because there's a lot of responsibility with being 3rd generation. Most 3rd generations don't make it. And our family has 4 kids, and my brother works in the business, and he's got 2 kids, and so we're 3rd generation. And now we have, our 2 oldest boys are working in, and our daughter's very driven in engineering. So they all have interest in coming here in the future too. So for us, we want to make sure, Alicia and I, make sure that we're doing everything we can to set our company up to be successful in the future, and to make sure that the industry needs what we have to offer in the future as well. So that not only drives our family to want to be able to continue to grow, but also we have a very long vision of where we want to go. It doesn't have to be today, but as long as we're moving in that direction, and we will fail and fall forward, and the whole rising tide lifts all boats is on our walls, as well as that we all continue to work together, whether we're talking about partners or other industry manufacturers, or but all our work family as well. I grew up with them, and there's just as much responsibility I feel to be able to make sure that we're a successful company for them as I do for my family.
They say always leave it better than you found it, right?
Yeah.
Yes. One of your kids is going to be sitting here talking about that. So, and we'll be here for it. So thank you so much. This has been exactly what we thought it'd be, and a little bit more. Everything from the massive American flag, which everybody can see, and it sort of reminds you of the 3 things that you talk about in the standard. Thank you. Thank you. And to everybody out there, if they want to get a hold of you and say, I want a tour, I want to do business with you, I think you said this, but maybe you said that, how do they get a hold of you? What's the best way?
So the best way to get a hold of us is to look us up on DeGeestCorp.com. You can go to LestaUSA.com. You can look me up on LinkedIn, or any one of Lesta or DeGeest, or each one of their companies. And you can reach out through any of those, and there's a button up in the corner to be able to reach out for contact. You can sign up for tours automatically on there, or connect with us. Again, we're an open shop, and we're here to help. So
thanks, brother. I really appreciate it. Everybody, DeGeest Corporation, and it reminds you to maybe consider having a stronger standard, because it seems to work pretty well for them.
This episode of Spotlight Sioux Falls is sponsored by Magnetic. We help businesses grow through content that stands out and software that scales your conversations. Not sure how to build your pipeline? You can find us at magnetic.services. Magnetic.services. Your pipeline will thank you.
Thanks for listening to Spotlight Sioux Falls.
These are the stories and the businesses that shape our city. If you heard something today that made you smile, made you think, or maybe reminded you of someone you know in your neighborhood, please share it.
That's how we support local. That's how we grow. And if you know a business owner we should feature, or you want to tell your story, reach out.
Until next time, we're Steve and Melissa, and this is Spotlight Sioux Falls, where local stories get the stage they deserve.